Welcome back to KudosKuber, your one-stop shop for deciphering the complexities of the global economy. Today's topic is a hot one, the World Bank and its growing pains. Joining me is Dr. Bangga, a renowned development economist with years of experience working in the Global South. Dr. Bangga, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Miss Kuber.
Let's jump right in. The World Bank has been a dominant force in development for decades. But lately, there's been some grumbling, particularly from developing countries. What's the story?
That's right. The World Bank has been criticized for a few key things. Firstly, the voting system heavily favors developed nations, especially the US. This means countries receiving loans often have little say in how the bank operates.
That's a bit like showing up to a party and realizing you weren't invited to the planning meeting.
Exactly. Another concern is the loan conditionalities. The bank often attaches strings to its loans, requiring things like budget cuts or privatization of state-owned assets. While these reforms can be good in theory, sometimes they cause more harm than good in developing economies.
So, it's a one-size-fits-all approach that might not fit all the sizes?
Absolutely. There's also a focus on big infrastructure projects, which can displace people and damage the environment. Plus, the bank's bureaucracy can be slow and cumbersome, hindering its ability to respond effectively to crises.
Sounds like a lot of frustration building up.
It is. And that's where the rise of alternatives like the New Development Bank, NDB, comes in. It's a brainchild of the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
So, it's kind of a development club for emerging economies? Does this mean the end of the World Bank?
Exactly. The NDB aims to be more equitable, giving developing countries a bigger voice and focusing on projects they choose. It's still early days, but it represents a shift in the development landscape, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But it's a wake-up call. The World Bank needs to address these criticisms. It can adapt, become more flexible, and work collaboratively with institutions like the NDB. Ultimately, we need a global development architecture that's inclusive and responsive to the needs of all countries.
That's a great point, Dr. Bangga. Thanks for sharing your insights.
My pleasure. Miss Kuber, thanks for inviting me.
And to our listeners, if you're interested in learning more about development challenges and solutions, be sure to like and subscribe to KudosKuber.